Well, hello, everyone. Thank you so much for your patience as we're trying to get started. I see chats coming through already, and I just wanted to let you guys know that for any kind of Q&A, we're hoping to divide this into two parts. So the first part, we will have a presentation. Feel free to ask questions. If the questions become more of a personal nature, we will have a Q&A after that we will not be recording, so you feel very comfortable sharing that here with us. So I see a couple of questions coming in. We'll get to those in a second. And if you have any more on the personal nature, you can hold on until after the presentation. We'll answer that as well. But I will be keeping track of the chat while Dr. Brewer is presenting. So I'll let you take it away.
Wonderful. Well, welcome, everyone. We're so glad to have you with us this evening. My apologies for the late start. What we really want to talk about with you today is the faith integration assignments at LAPU. And the purpose of this seminar that we're doing is just to provide you a little bit of context and feedback about those faith integration assignments here at LAPU. My name's Craig Brewer. I'm one of the assistant deans. I've been here for 5 years as of July 1st at LAPU, and Carrie Aikman is presenting with me. You just heard from Carrie. She's one of our senior success coaches and works collaboratively with the Success Coach team. So let me just start with telling you a little bit about faith, life, and learning at LAPU. We see faith, life, and learning as interrelated, as all part of this holistic journey that we want to join students with. Our hope is always that you will recognize over time how God's story in the Bible relates to your life story and your day-to-day experiences. And as we think about serving students, we try to think about each community member having a unique role in the learning process. And so again, we have a very inclusive environment where we want to accept students wherever they're at. We are a Christian university, and we do believe that is important. And so we do focus on spiritual formation, and our employees also do sign an agreement to our faith statement. However, that doesn't apply to students. So as a student, you are welcome to come wherever you're at on your faith journey, or even if you're not on a faith journey at all. We've had some students who said, well, I'm not really, I don't know that I'm on a faith journey. That is fine. That's not a problem. We're going to talk with you a little bit today about if that's your situation, how to be able to respond effectively on these assignments that come up. So because we're a Christian university, we do integrate a Christian worldview course objective in each course. And the intent of that is to make sure that we're aligning that throughout the curriculum. And the other thing I want to add really quickly, we're so glad to have you at LAPU. Our goal from a scriptural perspective, we really want you to feel love, peace, and acceptance as a student at LAPU. So that's our intent. Wherever you're at on your faith journey, or even if you're not on a faith journey, our hope is that the community at LAPU will demonstrate love to you in the place that you're at. So I've got a few scriptures that I just highlighted here, and I don't need to read through all of them, but a few things as Christians that we highlight is our love for one another. For the Faith, Life, and Learning Committee, our goal is we want the community to know others by our love. And so my hope and prayer is that you're feeling that and you're feeling welcomed at LAPU. And but again, that's part of our purpose here. And then we're making every effort to live in peace with everyone. That's part of the Christian walk, as well as living in peace. And the other thing I'll add here as well is that as Christians, when we look at Christ and we look at our Christian worldview perspective, Christ died for us while we were still sinners. And so part of that philosophically is that, again, we want to demonstrate love and concern for you wherever you're at. We want to bring you into our community and show you that care and love. And so I just want to highlight that you don't need to be a Christian to be successful at LAPU or to be successful in your courses. However, there are two things that you're going to need to do. And I talked closely with our vice president for academics and also one of our faculty members who teaches many of the Bible courses. And the two areas that they really highlighted was understanding. So you're going to need to understand the Christian worldview perspective. And then also reflecting. The second part is just reflecting on your journey as you go through the courses here at LAPU. Carrie and I wanted to share some student stories with you just to give you some context of situations in which we've worked with students who may have struggled in this area. And so I'm going to turn it over to Carrie to share with you her stories, and then I've got some stories I want to share with you as well.
Well, again, hello, everyone. So when we're talking about assignments, I have a couple that come to mind. I have a couple of students who come from, well, I'm a coach. I have students that come from all walks of life in the faith journey. I have a lot of students who maybe they were at one point in their early childhood or teens connected to some kind of faith community. That could be Christian, it could be not. I have some say that they're what they would call lapsed Catholics. And from that perspective, when they come in here, and there's one that particularly jumps to mind, is that this coming back to LAPU or coming to LAPU really sort of reawakened some of those spiritual questions that they had when they were younger and that they kind of went away from. And so it's been fun for me as a coach with this student in particular to re-examine some of the things that they believed when they were younger and are being challenged with now, along with their life experience, because that does change and impact how we engage with our faith and engage with God. And so the hope is that people that are in that situation that maybe were at one point very embedded in a sort of a faith community, to come here and feel free to explore those questions again as an adult. And what does it mean? And what does it look like for me now? And maybe a way they haven't thought of before. So that's one type of student. And I won't go into their personal details. I will say this, that they did come to draw closer to God since being here and are experiencing God in a different way than they have ever before, and a great freedom from that. On the other end of the spectrum, I remember working with a student who was an atheist and was taking the Bible class, and we had talked together, and I felt fortunate that we were able to build a trusting respect across from each other, which is the goal as a coach. The goal as a coach is to build rapport and respect the student where they're at. And this student came to me because they were a little bit they didn't know what to do because, of course, with the Bible class, they have to engage with scripture, and they didn't know how to necessarily apply it to our life. So we were able to have a conversation together. And what we found is that although the student didn't profess a faith, what they did profess in were certain values that they had, like honesty, integrity, perseverance, those things that they could relate to. And so we were able to talk about how the student could express themselves within the context of those values that had a marrying, if you will, of with the assignment while still keeping to what the student had. So that's another example of a faith assignment where the student was able to express themselves after we had a bit of a conversation. So 2 examples for you.
Thank you so much, Carrie. And so a couple examples I'd like to share. I had a young female student in one of my courses, and I want to say it was probably week 1 of the term. And she responded in the discussion board and said, hey, my background is Muslim, and I don't think maybe I shouldn't even be here. And so I was quick to jump on that and say, no, hold on. We are so blessed to have you. And again, we're excited to have you and learn from you as we go along this faith journey. And so again, you don't have to have any faith background or be in a faith place in order to join and be part of our community. The other student, the second student I had, was similar to what Carrie had talked about. Student just didn't have a relationship with God, and he was in a point in his life where he wasn't sure that he was ready to do that or interested in doing that. And again, we don't want to push students into that. We want to encourage students to find your way through your journey along the way. So as I engaged with him and spoke with him, and we looked at those assignments, what we ultimately came up with was that there were some values for him too. He had certain things that he valued and he felt were important values that he learned from his family. And so I talked with him and learned a little bit about those values. And then we tailored the assignment in his journey around the values, similar to what Carrie had talked about. I want to take you to a rubric, and this is from one of the Bible 100 courses. And the reason I want to show you the rubric is because I also want to let you know that when it comes to grading, none of the faculty are going to be grading you based on your growth in your faith or your beliefs. We're not grading you on that. We are grading you on your ability to understand the concepts, articulate those concepts, and then also share again along your journey. So what I talked about here is in the assignment, you can see it talks about faith and faith formation. And what I oftentimes will talk about with students is it doesn't have to be a religious faith. It can be, what do you trust and have confidence in? And as Carrie said, maybe that's core values. These values are important to me, and recognizing that. And then we want to come along students in that journey. So I'm going to continue on in this rubric again, just to give you a little bit of context. And again, we've got describes your own faith. And so for some students in a Bible 100 course are thinking, I don't have faith. My example here is, whatever you have confidence in, your values, those are the things that we're looking for in terms of your response about your growing and your learning at LAPU. And when we're grading, as you look at this rubric, you can see we're just grading to determine whether or not the students met that criterion. The content developments, the other one I'll add, for many times when we're grading, the one area where students can lose a lot of points is on the resources. So using quality resources, we say quality, we're really meaning peer-reviewed, scholarly, not Wikipedia. So a established reference or resource is so important. And when you look at our rubrics, they really align to that. So regardless of your own faith background, when you think about these assignments, it's really about looking at the references you're bringing to the table and the arguments around those references and the content in the course. Those are the things that faculty will be grading you on at LAPU. The final one is just communication. And that's really getting at how are you communicating your thoughts and feelings and ideas through this process. And again, there's no right or wrong on your thoughts and feelings as you go through this process. And it's just about how well you articulate that in the paper. So again, I want to tie these 2 points together one more time. Understanding. So again, at LAPU, we want students to be able to understand the Christian worldview perspective. And part of that is writing your submission objectively, looking at quality sources. And the second piece I talked about before was reflecting. And that's really about sharing openly about your journey. And again, whatever that may be and how your journey may connect with others. And so after talking with a few of my colleagues who typically teach the Bible 100 courses, their suggestion was if students can focus on these 2 areas, if they can focus on really looking at the assignment and the rubric, ensuring that they've got strong resources to support their points, arguing their points objectively based on the resources, meaning you don't need to share your own personal opinion, you're sharing what others in the field are saying about the topic. And then the final one, the personal piece, is just the reflecting piece. And there's no, again, it's not, no one's grading you based on how quickly your faith is developing or what direction your faith is developing on. We just want to hear about your story and how your story is impacted as a result of your time here at LAPU. That's a high level overview. As Carrie said, this is a recorded part of the session, so please feel free to pose questions. We really want it to be more of a dialogue than anything. My hope is that by sharing some of that content, it will help you to have a better understanding of the expectations at LAPU about the faith integration assignments. But I'd really like to open it up for any questions that anyone may have. Again, any questions you pose now, these are public questions. As Carrie said, we might move to a private forum momentarily, but for now, if there are any public questions that anyone would like to add, we'd love to hear from you.
We just had a couple. One that wanted to, I sort of identify if you were the Craig that has been part of these webinars. And I said, yes, you're a frequent part of webinars here at LAPU. And the second was about the faith assignments. But they said that those questions were answered. So we don't have any current questions at the moment.
Okay, well, Carrie, why don't we do this? If you have any private questions, what we want to do is we want to end the recording at this point and then open it up